Top of the morning to you. Thank you for tuning in to 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio and your state number one family radio station, Wells Radio, 89.3 FM, Alafin Avenue, Oluyole Estate here in Ibadan is where we're broadcasting from. My name is Ayo Emmanuel-Ojo, and good morning to you. We're here again on Perspectives Unlimited, the weekend edition, to take you through the front pages of the dailies, and of course with in-depth analysis to help you make better decisions. We go beyond the news to help you understand better things happening in Nigeria. Welcome to a brand new day, and I hope you are doing well. Today is Friday, the 4th of April, 2025. And of course, studio time check says it is 6:33. Good morning to you again. This morning on the program, we have the Punch newspaper, and of course, we have the Guardian newspaper. We go through both of them. Hopefully, the Tribune, Nigerian Tribune, will come in before we're done with the dailies here. We go through the Tribune, hopefully, and then we take more stories. And my analyst will talk about that and more. Welcome to the program once again. All right, you're welcome to the show. Let's start from the Punch, or with the Punch newspaper. On page 42, Afenifere rejects National Assembly bill on indigenship by marriage. And on page 42 still, foreign trips, opposition slams Tinubu Shatima for wasteful spending. On page 42. On page 41, hyenas nearly killed me in kidnapper's den, ex-NYSC DG. This photograph is right there on the Punch. On page 2, botched recall, PDP Natasha alert INEC as petitioners mobilize constituent. On page 2. And of course, to the big boy in the room, I would call this. On the front page of the Punch today on page 2, Donald Trump's tariff threatens $10 billion US Nigeria trade. The writer says 25 years duty-free AGOA partnership in danger. Nigerian American Commerce Chamber worries. Nigeria's crude revenue may plunge as US begins enforcement. Wednesday, NCC IMA raises concern. In Lagos State, maximum tears. Lagos commuters groan as Independence Bridge closure bites hard. On page 13, Oyo tightened security ahead of Alafin's Saturday coronation. And finally, on the Tribune, Senate to review tax reform bills after Easter. Let's move to the next daily, which is the Guardian newspaper. Defense headquarters dismisses the MNJTF withdrawal, vows to eliminate Tajo. On page 3, Afenifere cautioned over indigent status bill, cite ethnic tension and violence. On page 3. On the same page, Rivers Solar Administrator considers new 2025 budget. Let's move on to the big story, pages 4 and 5 of The Guardian. How vandalism, scavenging, ruin critical assets, damage the economy. The photo story is there on page 4 and 5 of the Guardian newspaper. On the editorial page, will Lagos ever tame excesses of its Agbero? On page 12, that's a big question. But the judge decries state of nation handling of Natasha Rivers crisis. On page 7. On page 6, petitioners adamant on Natasha's recall as INEC halt processes. On page 6, U.S. reciprocal tariff cause stir as WTO warns of trade contraction. And finally, JP Morgan, bullish on Nigeria, predicts 1,450 naira to a dollar by the end of 2025. 2025. Now we have the Nigerian Tribune here. Let's go through it quickly. On page 24, kidnappers exposed us to military rockets. General Tisga. We were kept on mountain with hyenas, snakes, and scorpions. On page 4, Natasha survives recall as INEC rejects petitioner's bid, says constitutional requirement not met. And on page 4, how Donald Trump's new tariff will affect Nigeria. Would like to know. We'll look at that critically, as time can permit us to do that this morning. And of course, on page 26, another 15 killed in plateau communities. Sad story. A Moteko bust visa kidnap syndicate in Ondo arrests 61 suspected kidnappers. Other criminals rescues 72 from captivity on page 4. Uromi Edo Kano leaders have taken action, says the defense headquarters on page 5. On page 24, Anambra 2025, 11 aspirants seek APC, Labour Party, PDP ticket to confront Chukwuma Soludo. And finally, on page 30, NNPCL board, LND accuses Tinubu of ethnic bias in appointment. And that's all time can permit us to take this morning on the front page. We read from The Punch, The Guardian, and The Nigerian Tribune. Once again, thank you for joining the program. Join us or watch us live on Facebook. We're live on Facebook. You can watch us right there on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Wells Radio 893 FM fan page. Live on Facebook. Watch, like, and share the video this morning. And also, we're live on YouTube. You can watch us live on YouTube this morning, Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Data handle on YouTube. Watch the video and, of course, drop your comment and your view for us on our YouTube page. Once again, thank you for joining us on the program this morning. All right, so welcome back to the program Perspectives Unlimited. Thank you once again for joining us on the program this morning. My name is Ayo Emmanuel-Ojo. Of course, with me in the studio to help us make sense of stories making the round to Nigeria, our analyst is in the studio, Mr. Olaleko Sani. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Chief.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm well. We thank God. We're back to work again. This week in Nigeria, I'm just going to go through some of the stories as much as I can remember them. But I know that the biggest of them all, probably before today and this new tariff by Donald Trump, would be the sacking of Mele Kyari of the NNPC and replacing with a new person. I'm trying to remember his name. Ojulari. Thank you so much. And that's the big one. And another one would be that of Natasha. Just before the program started, I was in the production studio and watching an interview of Natasha, and she hasn't been that bright in a while. A strong woman, I must say. It's been a lot. You can only imagine if you have ever been tried by the public court, I would say, which sometimes includes the media. It's a test of your strength. It's a test of a big challenge for your mental health. And for some strange reasons, just to see the woman bright and happy brings me joy. And that's because of the reason is not far-fetched. INEC saying that due process not or constitutional requirement are not met towards all of that. Another one would be the kidnap or the release of the NYSC DG. That's a big one. And of course, the killings that happened in Edo State, which then, brought us a new perspective of the story on Monday and all through the week, which is now we point at to probably how we manage our local, security men, which at the moment we cannot do without because of our security architecture in the country. But Donald Trump is in the news. And of course, the Donald Trump's tariff, imposed on Nigeria, which is 14%. When it comes to international relations, a lot is going on in there that significantly affects, Nigerians or citizens of a nation locally that you may never be able to explain. And where this is heading to, I'm sure a lot of Nigerians do not even know yet what might be what Nigeria might be losing, or how this could affect our economy, or the implication of this on our nation. I would like us to do some level of education this morning while I take the report. However, it is also worthy of mention that about 108 countries, were sanctioned with this, this tariff. I have a lot of questions, though. Some of them as to what formula, did Donald Trump use in doing this? The United States is a superpower. Is this some form of Emmanuel-Ojo kind of thing? Do we call this pride on the path of Donald Trump? America for Americans. I would rather throw pepper in other people's eyes, or some form of international relations or diplomatic politics going on in there. But let's look at the report, though. The newly imposed 14% tariff by the United States President Donald Trump on export by Nigerian businesses present a significant risk to the $10 billion annual export to the United States, potentially disrupting key sectors such as the oil export and agricultural trade. And experts and trade association are concerned about a potential global trade war. The economic expert in a separate interview with The Punch noted that the policy, which would, raise the prices of goods and services for consumers, would weaken the standard of living, slow down manufacturing activities, hinder international trade, and consequently weaken demand for Nigerian oil in the U.S., and that's one of the key markets, of the product. Experts also predicted that Nigeria's oil earnings were poised for a significant decline following the announcement of the new tariff regime. In an interview with The Punch, the national president of the Nigerian American Chamber of Commerce, Sheriff Balogun, stated that since the inception of the African Growth and Opportunity Act in 2000, Nigeria had exported an estimated $277 billion worth of goods to the United States, with crude taking the majority. Nigerian export to the United States currently average between $10 billion to $12 billion annually, although it has been fluctuating in recent years, according to the U.S. and the Nigeria, trade data. Donald Trump had announced in a decision widely condemned by the European Union, exporting nations, that countries seeking to sell goods to the U.S. would now face taxes as high as 50%. He made the announcement during the Make America Wealthy Again event in the Rose Garden and marked a dramatic shift for, decades of free trade markets around there that had, underpinned the global economy since the Second World War. Let's get to the conversation this morning. Like I mentioned earlier, about 108 countries. I'm shocked to see that Canada and one other nation, Mexico, did not eventually make the final list. Again, that's why I'm saying maybe some form of international diplomacy or trade, whatever politics is going on. In there, scratch my back, I scratch your back. But is there any form of justification to Donald Trump's decision on this one? What's the effect of this on the global market? And most importantly, my biggest question, which is what formula? Why? I mean, I know. So for some people, may probably hearing this for the first time, a sanction on Nigeria, say 14%. We also have a kind of on the other side, which is more than 14%. But what do you expect of us, though? South Africa, 30%. Is that, of course, South Africa, America at the moment? Let me let you weigh in on that conversation. I find it very interesting, though.
Thank you very much. The truth of the matter is that it's something I do not understand at all. I mean, I do not understand the rationale behind why Donald Trump is doing this. It's not going to end well for the world. A day before he came up with this new tariff, crude oil, a barrel of crude was going for $73 a barrel. In less than 24 hours, it dropped to $69, and it's still losing its steam. Let's start with AGOA. AGOA is Africa Great Opportunity Act. It was launched by former President Bill Clinton, and it was something that all Africans, until a couple of days ago, were proud of. What it stipulated was that if you are importing anything into America from Africa, you are not paying any sort of tariff on it, except crude oil and other natural, materials like tin, copper, and stuff like that. But if it's something that you have cultivated, especially agricultural outputs, and anything you have manufactured within Africa, bring it to America. You're not paying any sort of tariff. It's a way to help African businessmen so that at the end of the day, they're going to have more than people from, let's say, Europe who already have some sort of backing from the government. Now, Donald Trump has dumped that into the ocean. And it's not making sense. You talked about the formula. Everybody is screaming, Donald Trump, how exactly did you arrive at this formula? Nigeria is 14% simply because the Nigerian Federation, as we speak right now, is not looking for Donald Trump's trouble. We can't say exactly the same for South Africa. South Africa evicted some white farmers, and that really piqued the hunger of Donald Trump and Elon Musk, such that they are saying that, if you are a white South African and you are facing some sort of discrimination, come to America and you will be given what is next to instant citizenship. You'll be given a green card. Within a couple of years, you become an American citizen. If you need land to come and to do your farming, come to America, we are going to give you. So when they now came up with 30% for South Africa, not many of us were surprised. I should tell you something. There are at least 2 uninhabited islands included in Donald Trump's tariff policy. One of them, there is nothing there. The other one, you have just white polar bears there.
And I think there's another one, the McDonald's something, the penguins. And
another one, just penguins. And I'm
wondering why
and Donald Trump has included those 2 islands, now 3 islands that you do not have a human being on in the list of countries that are going to be paying tariffs. It tells you clearly that there is no formula, there is no logic. It's just a case of, tell me about, there's a country called Solomon Islands, include them. There's a country called Chad, include them. That is what it is about. And the implication of that is going to be felt the most in America.
Okay, let's
Americans are the ones who are going to pay for this the most. No country is self-sufficient. That is just the truth of the matter. No country on earth.
Isn't America portraying itself as one at the moment?
They can't. It's not possible. Because as of 2 weeks ago, they were still importing jet fuel from Dangote Refinery. Our own Dangote Refinery. Yeah. Now, if the volume of what they imported was going for, let's say, $100, now it's going to become $114 when they are about selling to American people. What that means is that if you bought fuel worth $100 from Dangote in America, you will now be paying $114. You won't pick the bill. You will transfer it to the people. That is why Americans are going to suffer the most at the end of the day. A lot of the food is coming from Europe. A lot of their food is coming from Africa, Australia, and now it is going to be more expensive than ever. America doesn't produce much wine. Most of the wine they drink comes from Europe, Spain, Italy, and France. And Donald Trump is even threatening a 200% tariff on the wine industry in Europe. And Americans love wine. They are going to pay for it. These fruits that we enjoy here, oranges are not that much in America apart from, let's say, California. Most of their oranges come from Africa here. Their flowers, roses, their weather cannot permit you to grow something like that. Most of them come from what's it called? Kenya. And now you are adding 20-30% on top of that. So at the end of the day, they are going to be the ones to suffer. Now, I should tell you that cars are getting out of reach for the average American right now because the auto industry is also involved. Most of their cars are from Japan. If you go to America today, you see Toyota a lot, Toyota, Honda. And for those who are fortunate enough to drive Benz, Benz is coming from Germany. And the tariff on the auto industry is even greater than 14%. It's 25%. What that means is that as an American, if you bought a car at the rate of $10,000 last year, this year you are buying at a rate of $12,500. So tell me, who exactly is going to feel the effect at the end of the day? Because human nature is always going to demand for whatever you need. I do not see this affecting Africa that much because whether Trump likes it or not, America is still going to ask for what we have. So Nigerian businessmen, South African businessmen, Kenyan businessmen are still going to supply Americans. I mean, the volume may not be as high as it was, but there is still going to be some sort of activity. What I'm trying to say here is that every penny that Donald Trump is going to ask from them will be transferred to the American people ultimately. So how exactly is he working for Americans? I don't get it.
The president, tagged these tariffs Liberation
Day, April 2nd. It's something he had been touting for weeks. Oh, wait, when it's April 2nd, you are going to get a new seismic shift that we are moving from the old order to the new order. Now we have seen the new order. And I can tell you that Americans are jittery right now. I was going through the pages of the internet yesterday, and I came across this screaming headline from JP Morgan. JP Morgan is the biggest of the biggest when it comes to banking in America, and they are saying that the American economy is extremely closer to recession than ever. At any point in time, the economy can somersault. And should that happen, it's not going to end in just America. It's going to reverberate across the globe. 2008, there was a global recession just because two bankers were trading illegally in America.
Let's look at the tariffs, and I like to, when we have global issues like this, especially when it concerns or somehow Nigeria is being mentioned. The average Nigerian man is asking, look America. Okay. But let's look at some of this. So South Africa, the tariff from the United States is 30%.
Simply because there was an existing issue.
Exactly. And the charges to the US is 60% from South Africa. Madagascar 47%. And then to the US 93%. Tunisia 28%. And then to the US 55%. Egypt 10%. I'm wondering why Nigeria will be 14 and Egypt will be 10, though. And that's why I'm asking the question of the formula.
He's trying to play a game with Egypt. He has been saying it times and times over and over that he would want a situation where the people of Gaza would be moved to both Jordan and Egypt so that America can take over Gaza. In fact, he even named it Trump Gaza, and that person's land. Palestinian people's land. You're talking about sharing them between Egypt and Jordan. So it won't be harsh on Egypt, so that Egypt wouldn't say, "Oh, you're actually planning to bring foreign people into my land, and yet you are slamming us with tariffs on me." So that is why he's playing.
What about Ghana, though? Ghana is also 10%. And of course, trade between Ghana to the US is 17%, Nigeria we're 14% on us, and trade between Nigeria and the US is 27%. If that is for Egypt, which is very reasonable, and I'm thinking, how about Ghana?
Maybe he has one or two things. Maybe he has eyes for Ghana. You never can tell. Maybe there is something he's trying to get from Ghana that the Ghanaians are not totally aware of right now. And mind you, 2-3 years ago, Elon Musk had his eyes on Nigeria's lithium, particularly the lithium deposit in Nasarawa. He didn't come to Nigeria, but his men were here. And they almost struck a deal with the Buhari administration, but the Buhari administration backed out at the final minute. What happened then? They said they wanted to come and mine lithium in that raw form and take to America. And the Buhari administration said, no, we're not going to allow that. Instead, come here, refine it, process it,
and then
make it become batteries. And at that particular point, you now export the batteries with the label made in Nigeria. He said he was not interested in that. All he wanted was zero. And Nigeria said, no, we can't do that. Maybe they are trying to play something like that with Ghana. You never can tell. I don't have faith in Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Those two guys, I don't see them as people working for America. I see them as people who are doing party arrangements. And for that reason, I cannot totally trust I do not trust their intention.
Let's look at what is in it for Nigerians. Okay. And I'm looking at the smallest Nigerian right now. Whatever they are sanctioning, show Yeniki Rice Wale. You know, what's in it for Nigeria?
The truth of the matter is that our earnings are going to drop. The projected revenue from crude for this year is $75 per barrel. As we speak right now, because of this tariff, it's now $69. Nobody knows. I mean, it dropped $4 in a day, and it's still dropping. Nobody knows what's going to be at the end of the day. What that means is that money that Nigeria should use to develop Nigeria is getting reduced. That is number one. Number two, Americans are going to have problem with their purchasing power. So if you're exporting avocado, for instance, to America right now, if it's too expensive, not many of them will be able to afford it. So if the tonnage of what you send to America is 100 tons per annum, you'll be lucky to keep 50 tons per annum running, right. And that is going to affect your disposable income. So directly or indirectly, directly, it is going to affect us.
Let's take a break. Okay.
Please, before we take a break, Europe is fighting back.
True.
Macron said something yesterday. He said, if you are a European and you are planning on building a plant or situating any investment in America, suspend that for now. So tell me how it's going to handle of America.
Liberation Day, indeed. We take a break, and when we come back, we look at more stories, and then we open the phone lines so we can talk about this and how this, affects you, as a Nigerian. We'll be right back.
Wells Radio, 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio.
The Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, wishes to draw the attention of the public to the activities of illegal financial operators, IFOs, which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The general public is hereby advised to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Verify the licensing status of such schemes on this website: www.cbn.gov.ng, www.nicom.gov.ng, www.pencom.gov.ng, www.sec.gov.ng, www.fsrcc.gov.ng. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call CBN 0817-665-7060, 0707-338-4828, SEC 0209-462-1168. Announcer, FSRCC.
That gele chick in collaboration with
Wells Radio 89.3 FM brings you 2 days advanced Gele training featuring Mr. T. Gele, BJ Gele, and that Gele chick.
date 23rd to 24th April 2025.
Venue, Wells Radio Broadcasting House, Alafin Avenue, Oliole Estate, Ibadan. Time, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Daily.
Registration fee, 20,000 naira only.
For inquiries, call 070-8447-7686 or 070-4523-8936.
Be a professional Gele artist today and earn your financial freedom. Remember, knowledge is power. This training is supported by Wells Radio 89.3 FM.
Boost your business with Wells Radio 89.3 FM. In a competitive world of business, strategic brand and product positioning is key to growth. Don't remain unseen in the shadows. Shine a spotlight on your brand with Wells Radio 89.3 FM today. Why Wells Radio? We are your state's #1 family radio station. We connect with the heart of families in your state. As the smallest unit of the society, families trust Wells Radio for quality content and information. Visit us today along Alafin Avenue, Oluyole Estate, Ibadan. Our white and blue building just before Sharp Corner ensures your business won't go unnoticed. Advertise with us today. Call our marketing office on 0903-936-8185. Call Toby on 0803-509-3394. Yomi on 0706-616-5053. Take the leap today. Let Wells Radio 89.3 FM be the megaphone for your business success. You won't regret it.
Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio.
Welcome back to the program Perspectives Unlimited on Wells Radio 89.3 FM, your preferred wholesome radio. 0916-893-1000, 0916-893-2000, and 0915-333-4893. I'll go through the numbers again. 0916-893-1000, 0916-893-2000, and 0915-333-4893. Let's talk about the new tariff, sanctioned. The Punch says Donald Trump's tariff threatens $10 billion U.S.-Nigeria trade. And from this explanation so far, let's get your own view and how much you think it will even affect Nigeria as a nation. But on the lips of a lot of Nigerians, again, the question still remains, what are the basis of this, sharing, emotions? Donald Trump seemed to be very emotional. Do you think this new tariff is coming from some form of pain that no one may be able to explain, or some hidden intention, some form of agenda? Yes, Elon Musk is in between all of this. Mm-hmm. Is this just Elon Musk, or Donald Trump also put in some, I am back and I'm going to show you Pepe forward?
I think it's a combo of the two. In all seriousness, I'm not sure Donald Trump has totally healed from the defeat of 2020. And he is doing things haphazardly right now. He is not putting much thought into what he is doing, and that is going to affect America very, very badly. Now let's talk about tariffs and let's bring it home so that people can understand what we are talking about here. There's something called berthing fee. It's what the country charges you anytime you bring a ship to their shores. In Ghana, it's $15,000. In Singapore, as expensive as Singapore is, it is $60,000. In our home country, Nigeria, it is $200,000. All that means is that for you to even bring your ship to Nigeria, you must pay the Nigerian government $200,000 when the government of Ghana is collecting $15,000. And that explains one of the reasons why prices of commodities are astronomically high in Nigeria compared with other countries. Apart from the $200,000, you are going to pay a very huge amount of money to clear your goods. It used to go for 451 naira. As I speak to you, it's over 1,531 naira. You can see the disparity. And that explains why things went up all of a sudden. During the Buhari administration, the bathroom fee in Nigeria was 150,000 naira. Everybody was screaming then, it's too much. We thought the Parliament administration was going to reduce it, but rather it jacked it up to $200,000. Should I now tell you something? If your vessel is bringing in petrol, that is 299,000. 209, almost 300. Let's call it. It's just $1,000 short of $300,000. That explains why petrol is expensive in Nigeria. So we are seeing the effect of tariffs here right now in Nigeria. Americans will soon see exactly what we are saying.
Do you in the coming days? Do you see Americans screaming or asking for help, or do you see any form of reversal?
Trump is an incorrigible man. I do not see him waking up one morning to say, okay, I've actually had a rethink, and I think it's better we go back to the old formula. Nope. Unless the people of America take to the streets. And at this particular point in time, it's not something you can rule out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, when the effects begin to roll in, nobody can predict what the outcome is going to be. But I know that Americans are not going to take this at the end of the day. They are going to resist.
All right. The lines are still open. 0916-893-1000, 0916-893-2000, and 0915-334-893. Let's come back home. Okay.
Americans are not people who say, I feel it for long.
Yes, that they don't feel it for long.
They don't feel it for long.
Let's see how it goes. PDP, Natasha alert INEC as petitioners mobilize constituent. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, and the former Education Minister, Obi Ezekwesili, have endorsed the Independent National Electoral Commission's rejection of the recall petition against the embattled Kogi Central lawmaker, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan, for not fulfilling the requirement of the Constitution. On the third, however, the petitioners have vowed to mobilize more constituents against the lawmaker and ensure her recall. The Electoral Commission said in a statement on Thursday that the recall petition failed and the exercise would not proceed, citing the need for signatures for more than half of the registered voters in the senatorial constituency. The INEC National Commissioner and the Chairman of the Information and Voter Education Committee, Sam Olumeko, explained that INEC had completed a thorough review of the signatures and thumbprints submitted in support of the petition. And now, if the Electoral Commission, INEC, is saying that they're citing signatures or would need more than half of the registered voters of the constituent and Natasha during the public holiday, somehow against all odds, still, somehow found a way
Triumph.
to engage with her people.
Okay.
I still watched the video this morning, and we've seen staged footages in Nigeria. And then I'm trying to check again if there is something I use in checking previous ones to say this is a staged one.
I mean, Uncle, how do we actually be?
And all kinds. Whose signature again do you need? Those that turned up for Natasha and saying, "Hey, hooray!"
During a curfew.
During a curfew. Let me get your viewing on this.
Thank you. I am not going to applaud INEC just yet. And the reason for that is that I don't trust them. These people came with a petition. It was around 4 or 5 bags of Ghana Must Go luggage, saying it belonged to people who have... It contained the signatures and petitions of people who wanted Natasha back home. The following day, INEC told us that, this thing, it's not signed. We do not have the address, the email address, the contact address, the phone number of those you are claiming to be the petitioners. And for that reason, we will not be attending to it. And in less than 24 hours, these people took these bags back to Kogi, got everybody to sign within 24 hours, took it back to Abuja within 24 hours, and INEC said, okay, we have checked everything, it's signed, all within 24 hours. That is not making sense to me. We are talking about hundreds of polling units here, and they said they did that within 24 hours. Now they came back yesterday to say, after over a week, to say, okay, we have checked, but the petition is actually 29,000 short of the required number of petitions before they can go ahead with a recall. That's fine, but the process of recall is not something that you can only get done once. If you fail the first time, the law is silent on whether you can try again. And the people who are after Natasha's seat have said that, in fact, just yesterday, that they are giving it a shot again. And going by what INEC is known for, I'm not just very comfortable with them. You can see the back and forth already. And I said something in the studio last week that if the powers that be are hell-bent on pushing Natasha out, unless Nigerians rise up to hold, if I still said it yesterday, that if Nigerians are not going to hold INEC by the throat, you never can tell what's going to happen. I guess they listened to us yesterday and they said, okay, let's do what is right. But it's still an open-ended conversation. They handed a part of it, but that was Act 1, Scene 1. Never can tell what Act 1, Scene 2 is going to be. Yeah, that is it. But in all seriousness, I see the lady to be a formidable figure as far as Kogi Central is. In fact, I doff my hat. I wish I was wearing one. I would have literally taken my hat off for her. She is a fighter, a rugged fighter. I have a lot of things to learn from her.
Do you think Elisha about news, the new revelation as to Akpabio,
removing 5
the same chapel was also mentioned, removing 5 senators and being part of the senators. It's an allegation anyways, and Akpabio says
it's not new.
And Akpabio said it's not true. Do you see that further strengthening Natasha's claim or allegation against Akpabio?
In all seriousness, if Nigeria were to be a country where there are consequences for bad behavior, Akpabio would have been out of that seat, if not totally out of the Senate. But things are upside down in our country. Everybody has an opinion as regards what's happening. They're going by Akpabio's past. Lightning doesn't strike in a particular location twice. We have seen lightning in one particular location at least 3, 4, 5 times now, and it's centered around Akpabio. And it's on the same topic, or 2 topics now. Number 1 is forcefully trying to bed a lady, a woman. That's one. Number 2, using underarm antics to get rid of senators. Elisha Abu said it around let's say a year and a half ago. The same thing is happening now between the guy and Senator Natasha Boti. So, the book says that when 2 people, so you never can tell. But the truth of the matter is that minding the way we run our system, I fear for the lady.
0916-893-1000, 0916-893-2000, or 0915-334-893. Would like to hear from you. It's Perspectives Unlimited, and would like to get your own perspective in on any of the stories on the table this morning. That of the new tariff slammed on Nigeria. INEC saying that whatever way or the numbers to recall Natasha, it's not up to par yet and not constitutional.
For the sake of clarity,
yes,
it's 50% of the total registered voters, not necessarily people who voted for you. 50% plus one of the total voters in that particular constituency. If you can get the signatures of 50% of them plus one, then you may proceed with the impeachment recall process. But according to INEC, these people are 29,000 plus short of that figure.
Do you think politics will dance at the center of all of this? Because those who signed this in the first place, how do we verify?
No,
because the question of verification is also on the table, but eventually if it's registered voters, if we can cross it as against the register. But politics sometimes can be the big masquerade in the room.
Politics is part of this, but beyond politics, poverty is the biggest factor here. People are called in Kogi Central to come and collect palliatives.
And then they sign.
And they signed.
When they were signing, sign for like when you give people stuff and you say, "Oh, please just sign."
When they were signing, they thought they were signing to say, "Okay, XYZ has come to collect this particular goodie," not knowing that they were signing the recall
of their senator.
Interesting. Now the knowledge is out. Everybody now knows that. Okay, that is how they were able to get so much figures. So when next they do it, looking at the popularity of that lady, I can only say I wish them well. But the factor of politics and poverty will always have they always have roles to play
in all of this. Still on the Punch. Foreign trips. Opposition accuses Tinubu Shettima of wasteful spendings. The frequent foreign trips by the president and the vice president, Kashim Shettima, have drawn sharp criticism from opposition parties who described the travels as wasteful and insensitive to Nigeria's current economic struggles. The coalition of the United People's Party, PDP, and the New Nigeria's People's Party all expressed concern over what they described as the president and his deputies' excessive travels abroad. Their criticism followed President Tinubu's departure on Wednesday for a 2-week working leave in France. Just a day later, on Thursday, the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, left the country to Senegal to attend the country's Independence Day celebration. Let me get your view. Wasteful spending, do you agree?
Yes, 100%. Wasteful, it's beyond wasteful, it's beyond being insensitive. For me, it is irresponsible to have a situation where the president or the vice president are not going to be in the country at the same particular time.
All right, let's pick this call. Oh, there are 2 calls coming in. Okay, let's take this. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from?
This is Miriam. I'm coming from Odejai.
Morning, Miriam. Good morning to you.
Thank you.
Your perspective.
As regards the trip by the president and the vice, to me it's a waste of resources because there has been no tangible impact so far. Which is why I advise them to stay back and promote our country rather than looking for what is not lost elsewhere. They should not forget that our country is undoubtedly blessed with so many natural resources. So they should look for ways to promote the economy. It always over it now. That's my opinion.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Miriam, for your perspective. You were saying?
Should such happen, there is provision under the law that the president is going to transmit. There's another call here.
All right. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling us from? Good morning.
Yes, sir. No, truth be told, the way actually this APC federal government keeps wasting our patrimony needs to be addressed. Because spending lavishy on foreign trips without any tangible thing to show for it, it's not a good one at all. So I would just call the federal government to work on the message and not the messenger by reducing the cost of governance to the barest minimum. That's all we want. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Ruth from Malaki.
There is constitutional provision that you transmit power as the president to the vice president. And if the vice president is incapacitated or whatever, you transmit power to the Senate president. There is constitutional provision for that. The president didn't transmit to the vice president. The vice president has gone, I wouldn't want to say, he's in Senegal for something I don't think he should be there for.
He was invited.
He was invited. It's not a change of guard. It's just an Independence Day celebration. And you are abandoning your country when your principal is not around. It doesn't make sense to me. Right now, the Senate is on recess. So the Senate president is just bearing the title of Senate president without necessarily having a chamber right now because they are on recess. So who exactly is the president of the country at this particular moment? The commander-in-chief that everybody voted for, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, went to France.
That's a work leave.
I mean, it's complete nonsense. Let me go into that. They said he was going, as he is there now, to review his midterm performance. I mean, it's a slap on our faces. You want to review your performance, and as big as Nigeria is, there is no corner in this country where you can actually lay your head to say, okay, how far have I gone? What do I need to do? What do I need to undo? We have Asorok. We have the Defense House. We have Yankari Games Reserve. There is Hood Oyo National Park. There is 29.
You want the president to go to all of these places?
He can go to any of them. If
you mention Burkatu Ranch, Yankari Game Reserve,
there is Obudu.
The videos are all over the internet to tell you that these places are not places where the president might actually want to lay his head.
The truth of the matter is that they are like that because they are not getting patronage. Wherever he is going in France is going to look sparkling clean because they are getting patronage. If Yankari is getting patronage from our leaders, it's not going to be the way it is. So if you want to change the narrative, you must start by patronizing these people. And if you do that, of course, they are going to invest more money in what they are.
You know what? When we say...
But if we keep taking our money to France, France will keep getting developed, while Nigeria will keep getting underdeveloped.
This narrative of our leaders investing in Nigeria, especially when it comes to tourism and holidays, sometimes when we get into that conversation, we may now begin to sound like a broken record. But do you think these people even pay attention? Because I think Nigerians at this level speak on that topic at the highest volume ever. But it's like no one is paying attention to it.
They are just insensitive. The truth of the matter is that in this part of the world, people contest for public office to tell the world that they have arrived. And the moment they get sworn in, as far as they are concerned, they have achieved. What they do with that public power is a different ballgame.
All right, let's take this. Hello, good morning. Good morning, Mr. Gbenga. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
I sometimes told myself that I think I won't be having interest in talking about this issue of this country again because you wake up every morning looking at different airlines that is not even possible to be here. Like whenever you hear some of those airlines, you are marveled. Like you see that this country is a very good country to live in. How will a sitting president leave his own country looking at the series of problems that we are having? Go and spend 2 weeks in a foreign land. 3 weeks you are going there with some of your essays. You are going there with some of the security. You are going there with some ministers. You are going there with some of family members or some other crews like that. And the expenses that this time you incur there is paid through the taxpayers' money. Mr. Ewa, you and I are Mr. Our administration at home. Our money, part of our money, is spent on the frivolity like we'll be living in France for the state of 2 weeks. Who does that? And no, when they are coming back, there is no going to be accountability of how much they spent. Remember COP 20 something that was held last year. Remember how much of money, billions of dollars that was being spent on that they went to people that doesn't even matter. Now they are embarking now on another journey that is going to the hotel bill is going to be there, and they are going to live in a very exotic and exorbitant hotel. The feeling as well is here. The traveling expenses, I know there was other good expenses here. And when they come back, they usually give some money to those that went. You know, this thing is mind-blowing. And they will tell us that there is no money in this country. And they will tell us that we should fasten our base and endure the hardship in the country. They are not, here are you, living larger at the expense of taxpayers' money. In fact, all of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gbenga. Thank you so much.
You know,
the last word is a very powerful
it
one,
is,
and
I
can understand.
I cannot contest it. We need a lot of things that we should be doing that we are not doing. Imagine the message is going to send out if the president was to be found in, let's say, Opudu or any of these resorts in Lagos. These companies who send their staff outside of the country for resort are going to kill him because that's the new order. We're not talking about that. Instead, you are talking about spending tons of money in another man's country, in another man's land, on another man's economy, at the expense of your own economy. There is nothing smart about that.
All right, so let's end the show this morning and let's talk about our state quickly. Oyo tightened security ahead of Alafin's Saturday coronation. As the coronation of the 46th Alafin of Oyo, Oba Akim Owade, takes place on Saturday, the 5th of April, the Oyo State government has placed in place heightened security measures, including the deployment of security operatives at strategic locations within the ancient city and surrounding community. The new Alafi, who was presented with staff of office and instrument of office on Monday, the 13th of January 2025, at the governor's office in Ibadan, ascend the throne after the late Oba Adeyemi passed away. Let me get your commenting on that before we go.
I understand that they are in court, but what I'm going to say is that congratulations to the new monarch. And to the people in court, I wish them well.
Interesting times. The coronation event will take place at the Olivet Baptist High School in Oyo, where Governor Seyi Makinde is expected to lead a host of dignitaries, including notable Nigerians. So we say a big congratulations to all of us in Oyo State, and most importantly, residents and indigents of Oyo Town in itself. And we pray that the time of the new Alafi will bring peace, joy, and prosperity to our land. Amen. Let's talk about the kidnap of the ex-DG. Say in a minute or two.
Yes.
Our hyenas nearly killed me in kidnappers' den. I mean, it's a lot.
It's nothing to. There's nothing there to excite anybody. This is an old man who was kidnapped. In his house in the middle of the night, and he was there for, if I'm not mistaken, around 2 months.
Yes.
According to the report I got, he paid around 180 million naira to get himself freed from their grips. Now tell me, anybody collecting 180 million naira, is there a way you can preach to that person to stop that type of trade, other than to take them out? If Nigeria is not taking these people out, we haven't started yet.
Thank you so much for your time this morning.
It's always an honor to be here.
All right, so that's all we can take on Perspectives Unlimited today, Friday, the 4th of April, 2025. If you look at your time, it's about, we have a few more seconds to 7:30, which means AM Sports will be coming in a moment. But in the meantime, follow us on all our social platforms. Like us on Facebook, Wells Radio 893 FM fan page. On YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Wells Radio 89.3 FM. The weather forecast this morning is saying 24 degrees Celsius. Feels like 28. And it says it's going to be excessive heat in Ibadan today. So please dress the weather. I was going to wear sweaters today, but I got the prompt and then I followed that. God bless you. Thank you for joining us.